has happened to Joe McElderry since he won the X Factor in 2009. He's now split from Simon Cowell's label, was a recent winner of ITV's Pop Star to Opera Star, and next week he brings out his 4th album. It's called Hear What I Believe, and we'll have a track from that on the way. On a recent promotional tour to the UK, Joe McElderry visited the BBC. Joe, nice to see you.
How are you? You alright?
I'm good, thank you. Now, this is a pre-recorded interview, and I need to point out that it's an hour later than expected because you're on this mini radio promo tour, and you're being mobbed by fans.
Yeah, we got a little bit behind time because I was outside some of the places we'll be visiting, meeting fans. So it's a nice reason to be late. But I do apologise for being late.
I guess it's an illustration of, one, the popularity you have, but two, the use of Twitter, because you've been tweeting about this tour, so people are able to follow and track your movement.
Yeah, I mean, I've done about three radio tours now since the first album, up until now, and I've always kind of made it so that, fans can get involved in it, and people who want to come along and meet us, and sometimes, we do acoustic performances, and then it works nicely because you get to see them, and then they get to see you, because there's some places I really get to visit. So it's nice if they can go outside. And I'm a massive fan of Twitter, so I'm always tweeting where I am anyways. So yeah, it's good.
I know with some of these tours, the record companies like to keep it quiet because they've got a schedule to stick to. Are you constantly being told off by the record label?
Sometimes. Sometimes I am. But, it's at the end of the day, the fans and supporters are the reason that I'm able to do all these things and release albums. So I like to spend time with them and spend time talking to them and thanking them.
It's a great testament to your career as well, isn't it? The fact that after all of this time, we still have really loyal support.
Totally. It's one of those it's one of those things where without people's support and people kind of turning up outside of venues, spending money on the tickets to the albums, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm constantly helpful and kind of wanting to be like accessible, you know what I mean? I don't want to kind of lock myself away and say I'm not going to meet anybody. I always meet people outside the venues after shows. I always make myself kind of, that I can just chat to them and have a normal conversation.
Is it hard maintaining a support?
I don't think so. I think if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to keep going at things, and I suppose keep people interested. All it is keeping people interested. I have to change things. Whenever I do a show, even if I'm doing the same set, I do a different thing every night so that the next people see something different or something better, so that each time, so that you're not just seeing the same thing all the time. So I suppose it's just keeping people interested, really. It's not actually hard keeping the support.
I remember chatting to you a couple of years back after the X Factor, after the climb and everything else like that. So what's happened to you since? Different record label, at least?
Yeah, different record label. I parted ways with Psycho last year, signed to Universal Decca. Released 2 albums last year, went on tour for about a month and a half, and then since January this year I've literally just been in the studio recording, so I've been mega busy for the past 2 years, just non-stop really.
We'll talk about Simon Cowell later on, but in terms of where you're at with your career now, are you in greater control of things now?
And I don't want to say that I wasn't in greater control then, or I wasn't in control. I think it was more of that I didn't have enough experience, as an artist. I hadn't really, I suppose, the way I explain it now is that I've served my apprenticeship. I've done the experience, I've done the touring, I've been around everywhere, I've recorded, this is 4th album now. I feel like I know what I'm doing now a bit more, and that's not to say that I still haven't got things to learn, and I'll make mistakes on recordings and things, and albums where I'll probably look back next year and go, I wish I'd done that instead. But, I feel like I know what I'm doing now, and I'm always learning on the job anyways, but I feel like I've earned me stripes.
Let's take the current single, Here's What I Believe. Tell me more about this song.
This is a song that I've wrote with Marcella Detroit from the Shakespeare Sisters and Gav from their band Uncle, which people will know very well. And this is the first album where I've really got involved in the songwriting process, so it's quite exciting for me to release this as the first single, considering it's one of the songs that I've written. And it's just it's a bit of a feel-good ballad about just letting somebody know that you've had enough of putting up with rubbish in a relationship, and it's kind of like a conversation to somebody, and that's the way it worked. When we wrote that song, we were having a conversation about it's basically about somebody cheating on somebody, and we were having a conversation about it and why we thought that, you know, we were just sitting in a room with a guitar and everybody was like, you know, why can't people just be honest with each other and be upfront, you know, it saves a lot of time and blah 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 and all of this like conversational stuff. And I was just sitting away, writing away, and kind of saying sayings that I would want to say to somebody in a relationship about telling the truth, laying your cards out for everyone to see, you know, you're tired of hanging on to all their games. And before we know it, we had a song in my hands, and it's quite a catchy one.
Brand new from Joe McElderry. It's called Here's What I Believe. The album comes out on Monday, so a week today, and includes that. That is his latest single. Hello to lots of you listening around the UK. Thank you very much to Julie, to Trash. Thank you for your message as well. Joe McElderry's promo agency are listening as well. Hazel B, thank you for the retweet. Likewise, Sharon. Also, another Julie Arnold, listening to the programme. I actually mentioned you twice. Thank you very much. And also the team behind Joe Nuts. It's very busy, clearly. He's got a very busy Twitter community, has Joe McElderry, and I know you're listening around the United Kingdom, so thank you very much. If you are, then, and if you're just listening anyway, it doesn't matter, across Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire, 81333 is our text number tonight, 81333, starting your message with the expression James, and you can tweet me at James, HOGGARTH.
The Evening Show with James Hoggarth.
Tonight. We will talk about the X Factor in a few minutes. By the way, did you see recent X Factor with the lady that was on it and stormed off and threw the microphone down and pushed the camera out the way?
I've seen the first 20 minutes of the show, and she was the one auditionee I did see, which wasn't very pleasant, was it?
Have you ever done anything like that?
No. Do you know what it is? At the end of the day, I think that's a really unprofessional thing to do. When you know, although that's an audition, it's still your job as a singer to stand up there and, you know, if you put yourself on that stage, you have to be prepared to take critique. And yes, it is hard if the judges say something difficult. I've been in that position where it is hard to just kind of like bite your lip and think, I really want to say, but, you know, but at the end of the day, they're experienced in the industry. Whether or not she likes them as musicians or whatever, they've all had this individual experience in the industry, and they know what's going to sell and what's going to work. And I think to chuck a microphone across a stage is quite aggressive. I was like, whoa.
And a little bit has been made about the fact that behind the scenes the producers may have suggested that she did specific songs. When you are in that position and you're a few moments away from actually appearing in front of the judges, do they give you tips? Do they tell you what to say?
Basically what happens is you audition in front of the producers, because, like, I think there's like over 1 million people audition for X Factor now. It's a massive intake of people, so it gets filtered through the producers. And basically what happens is you perform 3 songs. You take 3 songs to your audition, and they say, well, we'd like you to sing this one and then that one, or you may get asked to sing this one. So it depends, really. I mean, you can go on there and sing whatever you want, because if they don't start the backing track, you can just whack something out a cappella, you know what I mean? So really, you're in control of it. So they probably advised her to sing the Pink song, but if you go dressed to an audition looking like Pink, they're going to advise you to sing a Pink song, aren't they?
I'm making a note of that, just in case I ever appear in X Factor. Don't dress as Pink.
Well,
got that bit.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They're probably going to say if you've dressed like Pink, and if you tell them that you're a Pink tribute act, they're going to tell you to do the Pink act, aren't they?
Looking at the new album, it's a mix of songs you've written yourself.
Yes.
With a few covers on there. The likes of a Rod Stewart song. You've got Something's Gotten Hold of My Heart on there as well. In terms of the songwriting, your songwriting, how important was it that this album gave you the opportunity of writing songs?
I felt like it was the next step I needed to take to grow as an artist. It was where I needed to head and the direction that I needed to go in to kind of show growth, because I felt like I'd covered so many songs on the last 2 albums that I really wanted to have some original material. You know, there's some songs that I've written on there, and then there's like 4 or 5 other original songs as well. So it was really important to include some new repertoire. And, you know, kind of show people that I could songwrite, because I didn't even know myself if I could do it. And I wanted to try it, to say to myself, okay, well, I can't do it, or yes, I can. And I'm so glad that I did it now, because, you know, at the time it was really nerve-wracking and quite scary to walk into a studio and just be like, right, I'm going to write a song. what shall I write about, you know? But after about an hour of being in there, I was like, okay, I know exactly what I want to write about. Here we go. And off I went.
In terms of the songwriting, is now the right time for you to be writing your own songs? I mean, why put some covers on there in the first place? Why not just stick to your own songs?
I feel like it's nice to do an interpretation of a cover song that people know. And I think with the cover songs on this album, they're not obvious choices that people probably would put me with. And that was important as well. You know, I wanted to have... I really wanted to put my own twist on some of the songs, and if you listen to some of the cover songs, you'll know the song, but you will not have heard the arrangement before. They're very different arrangements to the originals.
You've got a couple by Beth Nielsen Chapman on,
yes,
who I really like.
She's amazing.
Shall we play a Beth Nielsen Chapman song at this point?
Yes, yeah. If you'd like to play How We Love is incredible. Play How We Love, it's brilliant.
Beth Nielsen Chapman's version of How We Love, especially for our guest Joe McElderry, who's sitting in front of me here on the evening show tonight on the BBC across Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire. Beth Nielsen Chapman, not necessarily the most obvious of names. You're clearly a fan, though.
Basically, I got introduced to Beth Nielsen Chapman through a mutual friend, and she submitted some songs that she'd written, like How We Love, My Love Will Find You, and we heard them. And me and the guys at the label fell in love with them. She's an incredible writer, and she actually features on the version of How We Love, and she's incredible. You know, she's wrote from the likes of like everybody, the massive country and western stars, Faith Hill, and like she was working with will.i.am last week. Like she works with like the broadest spectrum of artists, and she's an incredible singer songwriter herself as well. So it's really exciting that I've been able to include her and work with her on this album.
In terms of your career, how big is this album? Is this the biggest thing you've done?
I think every album at that point in time when you release it is the biggest thing you've done in your career, because at that time it becomes the biggest focus. And I've spent a lot of time on this, so yeah, it is. But then that's not to say that the next album won't be classed as the biggest thing. You know, I think you grow with each album, and you try and make each album the biggest it can be. So at this point in time, yeah, it is.
Looking back on your time with Simon Cowell and the X Factor, how do you reflect on that? You're now a little bit older, you're certainly more experienced and wiser. How do you look upon that time now?
You know, I had an absolute blast. Like, it was one of the best experiences of my life to be a part of that establishment, to be a part of the biggest show in TV's, talent show in TV's history, is a pretty, you know, and to see that I won that is like something that I can take for the rest of my life. You know, it's an incredible thing to be a part of, and I loved every minute of it. You know, I had a blast, and to be honest with you, I don't know how I'm going to top the next 10 years of my life after the last 3 I've had, so I'm starting to worry a bit.
Does that put added pressure on you, though? Because people will judge you by that. Anything you release now, you will be, I guess, X Factor's Joe McElderry. Well, this album you'd have probably released regardless, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, without X Factor, I wouldn't be able to release this album. You know, I've got the X Factor I've used as building blocks, and that's all I will use it for. You know, it was a great part of my life, and I never want to forget about it. But it's all about building from it now and moving forward. You know, and kind of appreciating the chance that I got from that show and the people who voted for us. You know, and the experience I got. You know, I got so much experience in such a short space of time, and it's now about using that experience for the rest of my career, you know, and building on it.
When was the point that you knew your life had changed and things seemed different?
I think probably I went home after winning, and it happens at really funny times, because sometimes I forget that it has changed, and I've been recording for a long time now, so I've been away from all the TV stuff, I've been away from all the shows, I've done the few odd shows here and there, but I've literally dedicated all my time to recording for the past 6 or 7 months. And I went up to Glasgow recently for a show, and like the crowd were just crazy, and I got like mobbed backstage, and I forgot that, like, it kind of switched me, and I was like, oh God, I forgot that's my job. Like, I had forgot, because I had been out of the routine of it. So it happens at funny times, and then I'll be in a supermarket and it'll happen, and I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, just remembered again. Like, people know who I am, and it happens at really funny times when you least expect it.
What is it like coping with fans are one thing, but there will be a certain level of press intrusion. How difficult has that been to cope with? Because there's been a lot of speculation about your private life and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very private about a lot of things, and I've always been very, I've been careful not to kind of use the media, should I say, not like abuse it. I think some people abuse it by like getting popped doing stupid things like rolling out of nightclubs and things, and I think that abuses that relationship and respect with the media. So I've always been careful not to do that, and I think, yeah, it is difficult sometimes, because a lot of people have an opinion on everything you do, and sometimes you can't win. But, I feel like if I spend my life worrying about that, then it's going to come across in my job. So I just try and avoid all of that messy side of it all and just focus on singing and being the best I can be as a performer and a musician, and as long as I know I'm trying my best, then that's all I can do.
Joe, good to see you.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the brand new album.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to take a song that you've recorded at that very microphone that you're sitting at right now. What's the story of this one?
This song is a song that was written for me by Belle Humble, who's an incredible songwriter, and she wrote this song. It's called I Have a Broken Heart, and it's a very special one on the album.
Release on the 10th of September. Best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Let's go.
People tell me I'm too young to know that I'll get over you. In time I'll let you go, but they don't feel the way I feel right now. If they knew you in the way I did, how you love me, they'd understand this pain is real. No, time won't heal, so this is how it feels to be torn apart. The sky is falling down and I'm lost in the dark. How will I ever get over you? How will I ever get over you? I know I gotta try, but I'm dying inside, and I don't know where to start. So this is how it feels to have a broken heart. The world looks different now, and I realize I'm not invincible. I'm just another guy who paid the cost, who loved and lost. I wonder where you are. No, I can't stop myself. Keep thinking that maybe you're with someone else. It's killing me. I want to be free, so this is how it feels to be torn apart. The sky is falling down and I'm lost in the dark. How will I ever get over you? How will I ever get over you? I know I gotta try, but I'm dying inside, and I don't know where to start. So this is how it feels to have a broken heart. Ooh, yeah. A broken heart.
That will be one of the tracks on his brand new album when it comes out in a few days' time. It is just literally days. It's out in a week's time. Joe McElderry talking to me, fresh from his promotional tour that took in a visit to these studios in this room a couple of weeks ago. We wish him well with the brand new album. Clearly, very devoted fans, judging by the level of Twitter interaction I'm getting tonight. So thank you very much to all of you. I appreciate one or two people have been trying to listen abroad, but due to the Paralympics, you can't listen abroad to the BBC's website. website at the minute. So I'll stick it on the official Audio Boost site a bit later on, so you can have a listen to it. I say that, but you can't hear this. However, I'll tweet it and that kind of thing. Thank you to Trash H, who enjoyed the interview, who says, please remind listeners about the fact that Joe's album is launched on the 18th and the 20th of September in Newcastle and London. And Moira says, listening to the show, lovely to hear Joe McElderry, loving the previews of his album. He is amazing. Thank you very much. Good to hear from you tonight on the programme.